Good morning. Today we'll be discussing about the gross anatomy of the uterus. Uterus, Latin word is uterus. Greek it is known as hystria or the womb. The posterior view of female reproductive organs. The ovary, the uterus, the uterine tube and the vagina. These are the internal female reproductive organs. Uterus is a thick muscular organ situated in the pelvis between the urinary bladder and the rectum. This is a superior view of the uterus and it communicates laterally with the fallopian tubes. And this is a lateral view of the pelvis showing the uterus. So, uterus situated in the pelvis between the urinary bladder and the rectum. It's an important situation. It is located in the pelvis, so it is important for implantation of the blastocyst, which takes place in the uterine residue or uterine endometrium. Uterus is a childbearing organ in females. It provides a suitable site and environment, mainly for the implantation of the fertilized ovum and development of the embryo. Superiorly, it is on each side, it communicates with the fallopian tubes or the uterine tubes. Inferiorly, the uterus communicates with the vagina. So, uterus is inverted, pear-shaped or pyriform shaped, being flattened anterior posterior. Now, coming to the general features of the uterus. The different parts of the uterus. It has three parts, that is the fundus, the body and the cervix. Body forms the upper two-thirds of the uterus and cervix forms the lower one-third of the uterus. Coming to the measurements of the uterus. The total length of the uterus is 3 inches or 7.5 centimeters. Breadth, maximum breadth at the level of fundus, that is 2 inches or 5 centimeters. Thickness is around 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters. Uterus weighs about 30 to 40 grams. Length of the fundus and body is 5 centimeters and length of cervix alone is 2.5 centimeters. So it's simple way to remember the measurements of the uterus is 3 inches into 2 inches into 1 inch or in centimeters 7.5 into 5 into 2.5 centimeters. That is the length, breadth and thickness. A circular constriction between the body and the cervix externally is the isthmus. Internally, it represents the internal os. Internal os is therefore a communication between the body and the cervix. Fundus is a part of uterus above the level of uterine tubes. Body, the part of uterus from the level of uterine tubes to the level of isthmus. Cervix is that part of the uterus below the level of isthmus. So, different parts of the uterus. Fundus, the body, the cervix. These are the different parts of the uterus. Fundus, body and the cervix. Communication between the body and the cervix is the internal os, and between the cervix and vagina it is the external os. The lumen of the uterus is flat, anterior, posterior. It is known as a cavity of the body, triangular in shape. The canal, which is related to the cervix, is narrow, cylindrical, and the cervix lumen is known as cervical canal. Internal os represents the opening between the body and the cervix, and external os represents the opening between the vagina and the cervix. Externally, internal os is represented as isthmus, and isthmus is known as the lower uterine segment gynecologically. Isthmus is a transitional zone between the body and the cervix. Especially obstetrical significance, it is known as lower uterine segment. The muscular layer in this region of isthmus is less well developed than the body or corpus, a feature that facilitates the effacement and dilatation during the labor. So isthmus is between the body and the cervix. Fundus, part of uterus above the opening of the fallopian tube or the uterine tube. Body, upper two-thirds of the organ. Cervix is lower one-third of the organ. We have angles of the uterus which is known as corner of the uterus, and it is at the superior lateral angles from which projects the fallopian tubes. So uterus communicates superiorly with the fallopian tubes and inferiorly with the. Now coming to the ratio of the body to the cervix. Body to the cervix is 1:2 at the time of birth. In adults, it is body to cervix is 2:1. At the time of puberty, it is almost equal. Body to cervix is 1:1. Uterus changes with the age. Newborn at around 4 years, around puberty, a nulliparous uterus, a parous adult uterus, and postmenopausal adult uterus. Body forms the upper two-thirds of the uterus, and cervix forms the lower one-third of the uterus. So angle of anteversion is 90 degrees. Here the long axis of the cervix forms an angle with the long axis of the vagina, and it is 90 degrees. Angle of anteflexion is 125 degrees, and uterus is slightly flexed at the level of internal os of the cervix. So it is the angle between the body of the uterus with the cervix of the uterus. Angle of anteversion is between the uterus and vagina. So anteverted uterus, the long axis of the whole uterus is bent forward on the long axis of vagina. Anteflexion is the long axis of the body of the uterus is bent on the long axis of the cervix. So anteversion is at the level of external os. Anteflexion is at the level of internal os. Abnormal positions of the uterus is the reverse, that is retroverted uterus. Here the fundus and body of uterus are bent backwards on vagina and they lie in the rectouterine pouch. Retroflexion uterus, the long axis of the body of the uterus is bent backward on the long axis of the cervix. These are the abnormal positions of the uterus. So uterine axis normal is anteversion and anteflexion. Abnormal uterine axis can lead to the uterine prolapse. Coming to the detailed description of the fundus. Fundus is a shape like dome. It lies above the openings of the uterine tube, covered by the peritoneum. Fertilization of fertilized ovum is implanted in the posterior wall of the fundus. Fundus has no uterine cavity. Coming to the body, extends from the fundus to the isthmus or internal os, flattened anterior posteriorly, wider in the upper part, and it contains the uterine cavity. Body presents two surfaces, anterior or vesicular surface, posterior or intestinal surface, and two lateral borders, anterior or vesicular surface, posterior or intestinal surface. Anterior surface is vesicular surface because it's closely related to the urinary bladder. Posterior surface is known as intestinal surface because it's related to the intestine, the sigmoid colon and the small intestine. The two lateral borders. Now coming to the anterior surface or the vesicular surface. It is flat, directed downwards, forwards, covered with peritoneum up to the isthmus, that is only up to the internal os. And from here the peritoneum is reflected onto the upper surface of the urinary bladder, forming a pouch, and that is the utrovesical pouch. So anterior or vesicular surface therefore forms the posterior wall of utrovesical pouch. So angle of anteversion is 90 degrees. Here the long axis of the cervix forms an. Coming to the posterior or intestinal surface, which is convex, and it forms the anterior wall of rectouterine pouch. The posterior intestinal surface is directed upwards, backwards, and it is covered with peritoneum up to the posterior fornix of the vagina. From there, the peritoneum is reflected onto the rectum, forming the rectouterine pouch of Douglas. So, uterine axis normal is anteversion and anteflexion. Abnormal uterine axis can lead to the uterine prolapse. Rectouterine pouch between the rectum posteriorly and uterus anteriorly. It is supposed to be the most dependent part of abdominal cavity in standing position. On the other hand, the most dependent part of the abdomen in lying down position is the hepatorenal pouch of Morrison. Hepatorenal pouch is between the inferior surface of right lobe of liver and anterior surface of right kidney. Coming to the lateral borders, these are round, convex and provide attachment mainly to the broad ligament of the uterus. These lateral borders finally open into the uterine tube opens at the upper end of the lateral borders. So lateral borders are rounded, non-peritoneal and gives attachment to the broad ligament of the uterus. It's also related to the tortuous uterine vessels, the artery and the vein. Coming to the lateral angle of the uterus, which is related to three important structures. One, the fallopian tube on each side joins the uterus at the level of fundus. Next, we have the ovarian ligament attached below and behind the fallopian tubes. We have third, the round ligament attached below and in front of fallopian tubes. So, the uppermost part is a fallopian tube, below and behind is the ovarian ligament, below and front is a round ligament of uterus. This is a lateral view showing the lateral angle of the uterus. So it is showing the uterine tube, the round ligament in front, recto-uterine pouch between the rectum posteriorly and uterus anteriorly. It is supposed to be the most dependent part of abdominal cavity in standing position. On the other hand, the most dependent part of the abdomen in lying down position is the hepatorenal pouch of Morris. Now coming to the peritoneum of the uterus, the various peritoneal folds related to the uterus. So one is the recto-uterine pouch of Douglas, mainly the reflection of peritoneum from the rectum to the upper part of the posterior surface of the vagina. Then we have the vesico-uterine pouch. This is a reflection of the peritoneum from the uterus at the level of isthmus to the superior surface of urinary bladder. The third important peritoneal fold related to the uterus is the broad ligament. The lateral view showing the broad ligament, the recto-uterine pouch and vesico-uterine pouch. The cavity of the body of the uterus is triangular, apex is directed downwards and apex is continuous with the canal of cervix or cavity of the cervix. Uterus is compressed anterior posteriorly. The junction between the cavity of the body with the cervical canal is the internal os. Now coming to the cervix of the uterus. Cervix of the uterus is roughly 2.5 centimeters long. It is the lower cylindrical part of the uterus. Cervix is a Latin word which is equivalent to the neck. It connects the body with the vagina. So we have various terminologies here. The anatomical internal os, the communication between the cavity of the body with the canal of cervix. Then we have the histological internal os. It is referred to the site of uterus body mucosa to the cervical mucosa. The cervix is further divided into two parts. The upper part is known as supravaginal part and the lower part is known as the vaginal part or the fossa vaginalis. External os is a communication between the cervix. The cavity is fusiform and it's divided into two parts. The upper part is supravaginal part. The lower part is known as the vaginal part. The supravaginal part is also known as endocervix and it is above the vagina. The vaginal part is known as fossa vaginalis or exocervix and lies within the vagina. Cervix, the length of which is 2.5 centimeters. The vaginal and supravaginal parts are equal in length. The elongation may affect either parts of the cervix. The cervical canal is between the internal os and internal os is between the body and the cervix and between the external os. So the cervical canal is between the internal os and external os. External os is the opening between the cervical canal and the cavity of the vagina. So in nulliparous women, the external os appears circular. In multiparous women, the external os appears like a transverse slit with the anterior and posterior lips. Coming to the relations of supravaginal part of the cervix. Supravaginal part of the cervix anteriorly it's devoid of peritoneum and is related to the urinary bladder. Posteriorly, it's covered by the peritoneum and is related to the recto-uterine pouch. Also related to the sigmoid colon and the coils of small intestine. Cervix relation laterally. It's related to the uterine vessels, the artery and the vein, and the right and the left ureters. So laterally it's related to the uterine vessels and the ureter. The most important relation on the lateral side is the attachment of the McEnroe's ligament or the cardinal ligament, or it's also known as lateral transverse ligament of the cervix. It's related, the McEnroe's ligament is closely related at its upper end with the uterine artery and the ureter. So three structures are related to the cervix laterally. The uterine artery which crosses the ureter, then the ureter and the ligament, McEnroe's ligament or the cardinal ligament of the cervix. So both right and left ureters are about around 2 centimeters lateral to the cervix. The vaginal part of the cervix is surrounded by the vaginal fornices. So anteriorly, the vaginal part is related to the anterior vaginal fornix. Posteriorly, it's related to the posterior vaginal fornix, which is the deepest. Laterally, the vaginal part is related to right and left lateral fornices of the vagina. Cervical canal is roughly fusiform in shape, communicates above with the cavity of the uterus, below with the cavity of the vagina. This canal is flattened before backwards, has an anterior wall and a posterior wall. Along the anterior and posterior wall, you find median longitudinal folds. And median longitudinal folds are present on the anterior and posterior wall of cervix, and from the sides there are numerous palmate folds which pass upwards and laterally. The entire structure is known as arbora vitae uteri. So arbora vitae uteri are the folds present along the anterior wall and posterior wall of the cervix. So external os is circular in nulliparous and transverse in the multiparous, having an anterior lip and the posterior lip. Coming to the important causes of the cervix, the supravaginal part is commonly associated with the uterine prolapse. Vaginal part is usually elongated congenitally or sometimes in chronic cervicitis, which can produce hypertrophy and make the cervix. The cervix, the cavity is fusiform and it's divided into two parts. The upper part is supravaginal part, the lower part is known as the vaginal part.